coal becomes much less important. So, it looks like we've given this little production chain some time to run. I can actually pull up some production stats right now. It looks like we're producing right around 200 some iron plates per real minute, and this is consuming 200 some units of iron ore, which makes sense. It's a 1-to-1 ratio throughout this process, which is rather interesting. And well, it looks like we have a little bit of too many of these stone furnaces right now, because it looks like 1 or 2 of my furnaces aren't necessarily fully being met. So again, we're going to try to expand on this, and I'm going to build up a few more mining drills, or electric mining drills, and I plan on covering this entire field with this sort of 5x5 zone. One thing about mining is that you actually run out of these resources. So inside this 5x5 zone, it's filled with these 1 hex squares, and inside these squares there's only a finite amount of iron ore. So as time sort of goes on, as sort of your resources diminish, you will actually have to go and find other places to really just sort of mine out, which is another interesting part of the game, and really sort of allows you to play around with different things. Namely, you can actually make train circuits, and the combat portion of the game plays out in that there are indigenous critters around the map. They'll actually attack you if they notice that there's too much industry going around. So it'll be actually fairly interesting to see us protecting our assets, such as our trains and mining drills and factories and stuff and such. I believe they attack anything that sort of makes pollution, or anything that uses electricity, something along those lines, but anyhow, it's present. So, I'm actually going to start researching automatic turrets, because now we have electricity, and we have the means to move them, and they're fairly cheap, so we're going to research that. And as you can see here inside this research tab, it's fairly large. I mean, you have your automobiles, you have some stuff about like engines, turrets, military goods, a lot of stuff about transports and stuff like that, some combat robotics, some shielding. Currently, again, I mean, we have automation allowing us to build a few of these. Oh shoot, I forgot to talk about this. These things help us because they allow us to build automatic assembly machines, which are incredibly useful. And secondly, these logistics, this logistics research helps us out, mainly because it allows us to build these underground belts. As you might imagine, with these conveyor belts, since the game is in 2D, you need a way to sort of make them overlap, and that underground portion really does help out there. So there we go. We've expanded this mining operation. I'll actually expand it a little bit more. Oh no, that was not symmetrical. Try to expand it like this. So now, this mining area is pretty much fully engulfed. Rather, this field of iron is just sort of fully utilized by us over here. And it looks like our boilers have run out of coal, so that's why they shut down. So I'll fill them back up again. And the amount of coal that they use is proportional to the amount of performance they generate. So, I mean, we have 2 engines here, so they'll be using a fair amount. And, of course, all of these resources are just going to go into this area, which is going to be produced into iron plates. So, going from here, I want to make this process even more streamlined. I have to, kind of like a first world problem. I have to come over here and I have to physically pick up the units of iron plates from these machines by sort of holding down control and clicking on them, which isn't necessarily something that I want to do inside the future. So what I'm going to do to sort of solve that problem is that I'm going to build a conveyor belt running the opposite way this time, so over here. And what I want this conveyor belt to do is that I want it to just sort of put out these units of iron plates, and I wanted to collect it into a box from which I can just sort of access and utilize like that. So what I think I'll do here is that I'll make this little turn come down all the way over here, and what this area will be is that it'll just sort of be a singular box right there. I'm going to build a fast inserter hand, which is effectively one of a faster version of these little robotic hands. And this one's is sole task, so we put it out here, we put it over like that, so the arrow points to what this hand sort of puts things into, and the other portion is where it takes it from. And we'll put it over here, so that in the meantime what we can do is we can sort of make this cycle. Where what'll happen is that as soon as those units of iron plates are sort of finished, a set of those robotic inserter hands will sort of input that the ore required to make them, and then another set of these little hands will then export the goods, and it'll send it down along this conveyor belt to the best of its ability. And it'll make it so that it comes out from here. I'm just going to reset this area so then there won't be as much backlog over here. So then what will happen to those iron plates is that it's going to be shifted along this conveyor belt. It's going to go underground here. It looks like this underground portion is going to stall us up for a little bit, but unfortunately that is necessary. It's going to go back up overground over here, and it's going to come over here to this one blue inserter hand, which is the faster variant. And from there, what this one's going to do is that it's going to pick up these plates super fast, and it's just going to sort of shuffle them into this little box here. And it looks like it'll be better if we actually have two of these little blue inserter hands running. Later on we'll need to have even more, seeing as how I want to make a huge refinery over here. But this is well, it looks like we've set up one basic process for now. So as you might imagine, I mean, the ore is sort of extracted all by itself, so we don't have to do, you know, any hard labor and break the ground ourselves, and that ore moves to the stone furnaces without any sort of input from us, and then it's sort of conveyed down, stashed in a box so that it'll be neatly sorted into these little stacks for us to use. Alright, well, I think I'll end this episode right here. As you see here, I mean, we've set up a basic process. I suppose in the next episode we'll look up at setting some other stuff up.